Hi there, I'm Mandi Palmer, food and lifestyle success coach. Welcome to my channel. Thank you for being here. Today I am going deep and I am going to be sharing with you my healing journey, what I've been through, what I've done to heal, and I'm excited to share it with you. So let's get started. The biggest trigger that I had that really set everything off was when I was 19 and I convinced my parents that I wanted to go on Accutane to get rid of my cystic acne. I had terrible cystic acne starting from the age of 9, and it was so awful. It was cystic, so they were really big, and I remember having to get one removed right here next to my eye. And so going on Accutane meant a lot to me, although this was in 2003, so this was when Accutane was relatively new, and the next 9 months were absolute hell. I was depressed, I gained weight, my skin was just coming apart, and then my digestive system really started to suffer. Lots of bloating, constipation, so much inflammation. I could barely digest anything, and so I gained weight on that, and then over the next year I lost a bunch of weight because I couldn't digest anything. And looking back, knowing what I know now, I was highly viral with the Epstein-Barr virus, which also causes you to lose weight because of the adrenaline factor. And so that was the trigger. That's when everything started. And then over the next decade, I developed, and I'm reading from the list because I don't remember all of these things because I've healed from so many of these now. Insomnia. Many sleepless nights where I'd wake up at 2-3 o'clock and not go back to sleep until 5 or 6 a.m. Horrible vertigo spells. This was the kind of vertigo where I had to lay in bed for 7 to 14 days before I was really back up on my feet again. And I couldn't turn my head, because if I did turn my head at all or if I moved, I'd want to throw up. And I couldn't open my eyes because if I did, the room would just be spinning. And other people have a vertigo where they just kind of feel like they're on a boat all the time. This was not what I experienced. And so I had a number of those spells. That was definitely me at my worst. And then the IBS, chronic constipation, the chronic and neurological fatigue, adrenal insufficiency, night sweats. When I was in my late 20s, I got these night sweats where I wasn't hot, but I'd have to change my pajamas 2 or 3 times in the middle of the night. That's not normal for someone in their late 20s. Migraines, which kept me from working. I had to cancel appointments. Dandruff, not huge, but that's something that I've healed. Epstein-Barr virus, chronic bloating, chemical sensitivities, which has played a big part in my life because I can't be around certain people who wear lots of fragrance or fragranced products. Building materials is huge for me, so any construction. And bleach and cigarette smoke are huge triggers. And chemical sensitivities isn't something I've healed 100%, so everything else on this list I've pretty much healed from. That and some chronic bloating. It's 1,000 times better, but every once in a while I still get a little flare. And I used to have chronic headaches and still working on a puffy face. Working on my lymphatic system. So those are a number of things that I've healed, and all of those things were affecting my life so much. And so I used to see, there's so many of you out there that I'm sure were just like me, where you would see a conventional doctor and then maybe a functional medicine doctor, a chiropractor, an acupuncturist. I saw a doctor of Chinese medicine who did some wonderful things. And at the time, I thought it was great. I thought I was really giving myself the best care. And throughout this time, I should tell you, I was eating a paleo diet. I was super into paleo for about 9 years because my husband and I owned a CrossFit gym, and so I learned it through that. And I also have a degree in food science and human nutrition, so I've always kind of been interested in that. And throughout this time, when I was seeing many practitioners to help my migraines, my digestion, the night sweats, and insomnia, I would get some treatments where, like, I went to the acupuncturist one time. I was able to get in when I had a migraine. Actually, this happened a few times. And they could get rid of the migraine right there, and I'd go home and I'd right then and there, but then the migraines would happen again. And isn't that the point to really healing the body, is letting the body heal so that these things don't keep happening? And everything just kept happening. And my husband and I, we eventually moved, and we sold our business, which I thought with the decreased stress and the new environment, I would be able to recover. And a lot of the emotional stuff I was able to heal from. I was able to heal my soul a little bit more. But it was the first 8 months or so that, something else that I put on here was anxiety and depression. that was also on my list. My anxiety started getting so bad that I had to start seeing somebody here, where I moved to in Asheville. And here I am again, starting this pattern that I've already been in, seeing practitioners that can help me a little bit, but just not get rid of everything. I finally came across the book Medical Medium by Anthony William. And at the time, he also had the Life Changing Foods book out. This was 3 years ago. So I'm pretty much at my 3-year anniversary of healing using medical medium information. So when I read the first book, Medical Medium, the blue one with the x-ray on it, it just spoke to me so deeply, with the vertigo that I experienced, and the night sweats, the chronic fatigue that I was experiencing, the adrenal insufficiency that I was experiencing, the migraines, the bloating. It helped me understand it helped me understand all of my symptoms. And it gave me a plan of action to really heal myself. And it was so empowering because, these things were affecting my life so deeply. I was not able to be my best self for those around me or my clients. And so I immediately started applying that information. I got rid of meat right away. And, the book doesn't necessarily say that, but getting rid of meat did help increase my healing. I have no desire to have any meat today. And because I was paleo, I was already not eating grains or any gluten. I wasn't eating any dairy. So I just had to get rid of some of the little stuff like natural flavors and MSG. That he lists in the book as things you want to get away from. Oh, and I did have to get rid of eggs. That was hard. So I started seeing results immediately. And I know not everybody does. And it wasn't like everything went away immediately, but I started seeing a positive difference immediately. And over the next 2 years, I continued to decrease my fat intake, which happened really slowly for me. I'm going to do a whole other video on going low and no fat, because that's been a huge part of my healing too. And so and then every other book that came out, the next one was the thyroid healing, so I did the cleanse in there. And then of course liver rescue, where I've done the 369 a few times. And so now that it's been 3 years, and even in the beginning, let me tell you, I know that there's a lot of people that don't believe in this sort of thing, but if this stuff didn't help me, I would have quit it a long time ago. And I know a lot of people start it and they say, oh, it didn't help me. But it's not like all of that information in these books, it's not like it's all one thing. Yes, there's cleanses, but there's so many ways to make that information your own, to apply that information, to be compliant with the foods that feed pathogens and the foods that are healing, to be compliant eating just the healing foods. There's so many ways to make it your own. If celery juice is too much for you, you don't need to be doing it yet. But I guarantee you, if you stay on the track, if you stay on the path, you will be able to tolerate celery juice, and then your healing will be exponential. So yeah, so 3 years now, and the only thing I'm really dealing with now is a little bit of bloating that happens here and there, and some chemical sensitivities. And some things take a while to heal, and that's okay. You want to think about how the body has to heal on a cellular level first before you can even necessarily see some of the things on the outside. So, maybe you've been doing this stuff for a while and you haven't seen a result. Well, give your body a chance. Give your body a chance to balance out, and maybe try making some changes. There's lots of different things that you can do, staying on the medical medium protocols and making your own and making changes. Because, when you look at what people post on Instagram, they're doing medical medium stuff, but everyone's eating so differently. Some people do a lot more cooked food earlier in the day. Some people do so much raw food during the day. It can be so different. Some people do beans and legumes and lentils and chickpeas, but some people don't, so there's so many ways to customize it to make it your own. And something else that's been really huge for me, before I even found the medical medium information, I learned Qigong, and I even became a certified Qigong instructor. And if you don't know what Qigong is, it's an ancient system of Chinese medicine that uses a system of exercises to promote health and vitality in the body. And I particularly learned medical Qigong, what they call medical Qigong. So it's really just for health and vitality. And that was huge in helping me to manage my stress at the time, because I had a high stress job and a high stress business. Qigong helped put my body into the parasympathetic nervous system, which is healing. And so I have carried that along with me through the years, and that has just helped so much. I think that when we can get ourselves out of the stress loop that we experience, whether it just be lots of thoughts or just being high on adrenaline from life and high stress, that it's really important that we bring ourselves down, that we ground ourselves and bring ourselves into a parasympathetic state versus a sympathetic state where we're reacting. And yeah, so Qigong's been a huge tool for that, as well as emotional healing. Maybe you've heard of something called the emotion code. I learned that, but before that I received a treatment called neuro-emotional technique from a practitioner way back when. And that was huge for me, getting rid of the trapped emotions in the body. And when you do that, you decrease the stress that the body is experiencing, and just allowing my soul to heal emotionally. I think that emotional healing is just so huge, and not enough of us are getting it. So yeah, other things for you to look into: the emotion code and Qigong. And because this stuff has been so healing for me right off the bat, I was already a certified health coach at the time. And so I started, once I got comfortable with it myself and I started seeing results, I started teaching it to the clients that I was working with. And lo and behold, they had a lot of great, amazing results as well. So, now that I've been doing this for years and I've been helping people with it all this time, it's been such a huge part of my work as a certified health coach, a food and lifestyle success coach, I like to call myself. So, I like to help people implement the food in a way that works for them, because we've all experienced really dogmatic ways of eating, and not everybody can do that. Not everybody can, do that right off the bat, and you don't have to. You can slowly make changes that fit for you, that work in your life, in your lifestyle, and you can still see results. So I specialize in helping people begin these protocols and and do it in a way that works for them. So I'd love to have you reach out to me and help you out. My website is mandipalmer.com. And thanks so much for watching this video and listening to my story. I think it's so wonderful that this community supports one another the way that it does. It's a really beautiful thing. Bye. See you next time.